Hi, I'm Ian Gum. Welcome to this In the Footsteps video short. Behind me is the entrance to Poelcapelle British Cemetery. In this cemetery is the grave of a Royal Wiltshire Yeoman who was attached to the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Welch Fusiliers, and I thought I'd bring you his story as a tribute to those who fell in the First World War from the two regiments in which I served. Roger Alvin Poore was born in Bath on the 3rd of July 1870. He was the son of Major Robert Poore and Juliana, the daughter of Rear Admiral Lowry Corey. He was one of 8 children and they lived at Old Lodge, Lower Wallop, Salisbury. In 1899, Roger was serving as a lieutenant in the Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry. He volunteered for the South African War, and on the 17th of November 1899, he was posted to the Mounted Infantry Company of the Yorkshire Light Infantry, the 3rd Mounted Infantry. He served with them in all engagements between the Battle of Belmont on the 23rd of November 1899 and the Battle of Diamond Hill on the 11th-12th of June 1900. He had his horse shot from underneath him at Sana's Post on the 31st of March 1900, and in another engagement a bullet passed through his helmet. He was subsequently appointed a district magistrate, a role in which he was considered to be the soul of honour and uprightness, and a loyal, genuine friend by Boer and Englishman alike. In December 1900, his commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Pilcher, later Major General commanding the 17th Northern Division, wrote, "I can think of no officer who has seen more or as much fighting as Lieutenant Poore has done. I have on more than one occasion sent forward his name for honourable mention. I know no better patrol leader. He was on one occasion called out by Major General Hutton for his good work. He is an excellent mounted infantry officer." On the 10th of September 1901, he was mentioned in Lord Roberts' dispatches and made a Companion of the Distinguished Service Order in recognition of his services in operations in South Africa. The Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry, like all territorial force units, was mobilised on the outbreak of the First World War. In September 1914, they were subdivided into 2 cadre, a first-line cadre and a second-line cadre. The first-line cadre was made up of those who volunteered for overseas service, while the second-line cadre contained those who were committed to serve at home. The first Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry was formed from the first-line cadre. They served initially as divisional cavalry, then corps cavalry until the 27th of September 1917, when the 14 officers and 232 men that remained joined the 6th Battalion, the Wiltshire Regiment, which was renamed as the 6th Wiltshire Yeomanry Battalion. The second First Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry was formed from the second-line cadre. They served in the 2nd1st South Western Mounted Brigade until July 1916, when they were converted to become a cyclist unit. In November 1916, the regiment was merged with the 2nd 1st North Somerset Yeomanry to form the 10th Wiltshire and North Somerset Yeomanry Cyclist Regiment. In March 1917, it resumed its regimental identity and in July 1917 was stationed in the Clacton-on-Sea area. In early 1918, the 2nd 1st Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry was sent to Ireland, where they were stationed in the Dublin area. On the 5th of January 1917, Roger Alvin Poore was posted to the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Welch Fusiliers. He relinquished his temporary lieutenant colonel rank on assuming the appointment as the second in command of the battalion. On the 23rd of September 1917, Major Poore assumed temporary command of the battalion, Vice Lieutenant Colonel Garnett, who went on leave. On the 25th of September 1917, the battalion moved up to Railway Embankment and then to the support line in readiness for the second phase of General Plumer's renewed assault in the Third Battle of Ypres. This second phase is now known as the Battle of Polygon Wood. The 2nd Battalion Royal Welch Fusiliers Battalion War Diary for the 26th of September 1917 reads: "Received orders at 8:15 a.m. from the Brigadier General commanding 98th Brigade to attack and consolidate a line from Cameron House to Rutlebeek by passing through the Australian lines west of Polygon Wood. Moved off from Stirling Castle area at 10:05 a.m. and proceeded to Blackwatch Corner passing through the northern side of Glencorse Wood. Casualties caused by shell fire from 12 to 15 ORs. Formed up on a line shown in green on the accompanying map by 1145, on a 2-company frontage with 1 company in support and 1 company in reserve. Casualties from machine gun and shell fire slight. 0:12 noon. Front line moved off, followed by support company. 2 companies failed to keep connection owing to left front company pivoting too quickly to the right. The support company reinforced the left company and extended in front of Carlisle Farm. 2 platoons of reserve company were in rear and occupied gun emplacements and pillboxes. Casualties about 120, including Major R.A. Poore DSO, Adjutant, 3 company commanders and 3 subalterns. Approximate positions shown in red on accompanying map. Companies were reorganised in these positions by Captain N.H. Radford, MC, on whom command had devolved. At dusk, the front companies fell back in conjunction with the Australians, who, like themselves, had exhausted all their small arms ammunition, onto the line shown in blue. This necessitated a second reorganisation. Twice before midnight, an SOS barrage was put down, but no infantry attack developed on this battalion front. A patrol was sent out in the early hours of the morning, but only hostile listening posts was encountered. Among the casualties was Major Roger Alvin Poore DSO, Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry attached to the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Welch Fusiliers. 6 other officers were killed. The Adjutant, Acting Captain J.C. Mann MC, Acting Captain E. Oster MC and 4 Second Lieutenants. 2 other officers were wounded, 31 other ranks were killed, 122 were wounded and a further 37 were reported missing. In Old Soldiers Never Die by Frank Richards, it says, "Our colonel went on leave and missed the show too. The name of our acting colonel was Major Poore. He was not an old regimental officer, but had been posted to us some 6 months before from the Yeomanry, I believe. He was a big man, about 50 years of age, slightly deaf, and his favourite expression was, 'What?' He was a very decent officer." For me, as someone who enlisted in the Royal Wiltshire Yeomanry and finished my service as an officer in the Royal Welsh, following Lieutenant Colonel Roger Alvin Poore's footsteps has been a double privilege. It began with the discovery of his grave in Poelcapelle British Cemetery and led to me researching his service. Major Roger Alvin Poore DSO is buried in Poelcapelle British Cemetery, Plot 55 F11. Next to him are the graves of 2nd Lieutenants R.A. Carson and E.F.C. Coughlin, both of whom were also killed on the 26th of September 1917. Reports suggest that Roger Alvin Poore and these 2 Royal Welsh officers were in conversation when a German shell landed close to them and they were killed in the explosion. This video short is dedicated to the memory of all Royal Wiltshire Yeomen and all those who served in the antecedent regiments of the Royal Welsh in the First World War. Those that were killed, died of wounds, were wounded, and those that survived unscathed.